April. Thank you so much for joining. Okay, so I am here. My name is Bernadette. Of course, all of you may know or may not know. And I am a mom of a child with Asperger's. It used to be called Asperger's. Now it's called the autism spectrum. Okay, and I'm not coming here as a doctor. I'm not coming here as a psychologist. I'm not coming here as a counselor, a case manager. I'm just coming here as your everyday mom. So that means that, you know, if you need to do some additional research, then that will be on you, because I'm not coming here as any of those things. So for most of you, if you may or may not know, April is National Autism Awareness Month, and April 2nd is Autism Awareness Day. So basically making people aware of autism, Asperger's, and anything associated with that. So I'm just coming here as a parent, giving my story, and it's important, especially with us in the Black community, because a lot of people like to be in denial, and denial in no way, shape, or form is going to help you or your child. Okay. I have a child that has Asperger's, like I said before, the autism spectrum, that's what they call it. And just taking it back when my son was about maybe 2-ish or 3-ish, I was going to this program called Room to Grow, and working with an awesome social worker named Lachelle. And this was just something I was in since I had my first child. It had nothing to do with disabilities or anything. It was just a program that I was fortunate enough to be in at the time. And when I had my second child, by the age of 2, I guess he wasn't saying the amount of words that he should have been saying at that age. So the social worker suggested early intervention. And I avoided it, I guess, the first time. And I believe after my son aged out of that program, or either towards the end of the program, I finally decided to give early intervention a call. So early intervention came out. They did his assessment in home, and it was found that, I think they actually did part 1 in home, and then they did part 2, like in a school. And it was found that it was nothing wrong. Developmentally, nothing was wrong. So during the first part of the test, what they did is, I guess they had some pictures there, and they asked him, what is this, what is that? He wasn't able, or I don't think he was saying the things at that time, but if she said, what is a peer, or point to the peer, he was able to point to the peer. So whatever, so basically it told them that he knew what they were saying. So after that, we kind of dropped early intervention, and we moved on, or I moved on. So then, you know, my son was with babysitters for a while, and then I believe I was with a babysitter. When I moved to New Jersey, my child was with babysitter. Actually, no. Back up. He was in private school. And then I'm relocated to New Jersey, and then I ended up putting him with a babysitter, and things did not work out with that babysitter. And then I ended up putting him in school in that December. So I put in, and he was in school for a minute, right? Not too long, maybe a month or 2 or 3. And as a mom, and this is at the age of 4, I started to realize that my son was having tantrums. You know how like all kids have tantrums because they don't know how to effectively communicate their needs and their wants. So all children go through the tantrums phase. But at the age of 4, I noticed that like the tantrums are like, they were intense. And I'm just like, this cannot be normal. This just cannot be normal. So this was like maybe a Thursday or Friday. I noticed that. Hi, Jeff. And then I literally contacted his father, and I said, hey, I think there's something wrong, you know, with our son. Let's, you know, check it out or whatever. But so anyway, that Friday, I get a call from the school like, hey, we need to meet to talk about your son. So then I said, okay. So then I ended up going to the meeting, and basically at the time, my son was pushing kids, hitting kids. He was just pushing and hitting kids. And I didn't know why. So, you know, I believe his birthday came. He cried the whole time. We did his little birthday party. And I just kept getting called back and forth to school. He's hitting, he's pushing, he's pushing. And I just didn't know why or what to do, or, you know. So they ended up, I guess with the social worker in the school, we ended up meeting like every couple of weeks or whatever to discuss his progress or lack thereof. And that just happened to be that for that year. But at home, things were like, they were not good at all. So at home, like, he was breaking dishes, he was throwing himself on the floor, he was hitting himself, slapping himself, banging his head. I mean, it was very, very challenging. And at this time, I was a single mother. So I was in the house doing this by myself with my oldest son and going to work. And it was crazy. So then the last straw came when that same year he was graduating from, like, it was like the class before pre-K. At that time, that week, he started banging his head on the bathtub. And I'm just like, okay, this cannot be. So he graduated. His step-up ceremony was on that Wednesday. And on that Wednesday, like, after the graduation and everything, he came home, and, you know, we home and everything. He banged his head on the bathtub. And that time he ended up leaving a gash like on his forehead, and I said, you know what, that's it, something's wrong. I gotta find this out, because I cannot have any more of these incidences going on, and and then I'm in trouble, because it's like, okay, what are you doing at home? Hey, Katisha. So yeah, and to this day he still has that scar from when he busted his head on the bathtub. So anyway, I took him to the hospital. I was scared at the hospital because I thought they were gonna like ask me what happened, what I did, what was wrong, did I do something, am I a bad parent? And no social worker came to meet with me, so I'm just like, okay. So from that day, after he got his stitches, I went the next day to a clinic. Hey, Khadijah. The next day I went to a clinic and I said, look, something's going on and I need help today, right now. I need help, because I wasn't going through that bathtub incident again. So I met with a social worker, and I was telling her the little things that I saw at home and school, and she said, hey, it sounds like he has, hey, Ashley, it sounds like he has Asperger's. And I'm just like, I didn't know what it was, so, but she was not like the clinician that could diagnose. But based on what I told her, what was going on, she said, hey, that sounds like Asperger's. So then I went home and I started looking at, Asperger's, and, trying to figure out what it was and things of that nature, while still kind of living in chaos. So, I guess by the time I was second or third appointment came, she ended up giving us a referral for neurodevelopmental exam. And those exams are the exams that will tell you if your child has autism or Asperger's. So thank you so much for sharing my video, Yvette, and the two others that shared it. Thank you so much. So the neurodevelopmental exams basically tell whether your child has autism or not. So that appointment takes like 6 months, literally, like, why so long? So anyway, the 6 months finally came, and at that time I took him to the clinic, and basically during the diagnosis phase, I was interviewed by the doctor, and she basically observed the child. So observing certain behaviors. So observing him asking me the same questions over and over again. Observing him with the car. Observing him being fixated with a certain object. Watching him not having eye contact with me when he spoke to me, and whatever other signs. Hi, Denise. And whatever other signs that she noticed. So there he received his diagnosis. Hey, JJ. Janine. So from there he received his diagnosis, and from there, I was able to take that letter to the school, and I was able to say, hey, okay, look, this is the official diagnosis. Now let's go, let's do some work. So at the time, they had a program that, it's kind of like, I guess, the special education in New York, but it was like in Jersey, and I don't know what it was called, but it was basically for you to get the Board of Education to come in and evaluate your child and things of that nature. So the social worker at the time was like, oh, let's beef up your story. Let's beef up your story. Let's make your, hi, Marissa. Let's make your story sound so bad that they're going to have no choice but to come in and evaluate your son. And I'm just sitting here like, for the last couple of months, haven't y'all been hearing me in these meetings? Like, my son is hitting people. He's pushing people. He's hurting himself. He has a cut on his eye because he hit himself in a bathtub. Like, that is already severe. Like, why do I have to add more stuff to make the story sound quote unquote juicier for my child to get help? So anyway, I ended up applying for, I forgot what it was called at the time, but I ended up putting a letter to the Board of Ed saying, hey, this is what's going on. I want to have an evaluation. I think it was called Child Study, actually out in Jersey. It's called Child Study, where the team come out, they talk to you and your child, and they sit there and find out if your child should go in to get an IEP. That's what that was in New Jersey at the time. So by the time I went with the team and I finished my story, and it wasn't even a lie. This is all stuff that was happening in like real life. Within a week, like, I had my letter like, okay, we're going to take on your child's case and, get the services and the help that he needs. Thank goodness I can breathe some fresh air. So, at the same time, this was all still new to me. So it was still a lot of work to do at home, because I was still learning what is autism, what is Asperger's, what do I do as a parent, how do I manage when it's time for him to deal with other people. It was just so much, but I'm going to tell you this right now. That early intervention is key. That early intervention is key. A lot of times we as parents, like, we want to think that everything is perfect, that everything is fine. We don't want to think that something is wrong with your child. So you may have your friends over here that might say, hey, this is what's going on. Because before I knew about my child's diagnosis, like, I had friends, like real friends in real life that has children with autism. But it's like one of those things where you don't think that this is something that's ever going to happen to you or your child, because you want to think that everything is okay. And, as a result, I never really asked any questions, or because it's just like, okay, this would never be my child. But I say this to say, if you feel that something is going on developmentally, or if you feel that your child is not developing in that time that they should be, always reach out to early intervention. Always reach out to early intervention, because reaching out to early intervention is going to help you help your child. You cannot help your child if you're living in denial. And there's cases where there's been parents that lived in denial so long that their kids became a wreck and they got the help too late. You cannot do that. You cannot do that. You cannot help your child. Like, let me tell you, through the beginning of this process, like, I cried so many tears. I don't understand how many tears I cried, because nobody would help me. Let me tell you, when I found out something was wrong, oh, you're parenting wrong. You're doing this wrong. You're doing that wrong. You're not doing this. Like, my parenting style was so badly ridiculed that, like, it was crazy. Like, instead of saying, okay, look, this is what the issue may be. How can I help you? How can I support you? Like, my parenting style was being judged from all corners. Like, I wasn't doing this right. I wasn't doing that right. I was doing this. I was doing that. It was horrible. But you know what? And especially in the Black community, there is a huge stigma about whether, I wouldn't really categorize autism or Asperger's as a mental illness issue, but maybe, I don't even want to say it's a disability, but whatever you want to categorize it as, there is a stigma. People don't want, people love to judge, and people don't, and these are people that were closest to me and my child. And that's what killed me. Like, it wasn't like a stranger that had no connection. Like, these were people that were literally close to the child, that will not be there for you. And it's, like I said, it's a stigma, because, like I said, everybody wants their child to be deemed as normal. And it's crazy, because I think last year in the summertime, I did a live stream Periscope, and I don't even know how the topic of autism and Asperger's came up, but it did come up, and I had parents on there, like, the whole thing went, 180, but I had parents on there, like, asking me tons of questions because they suspected something, but because of the shame, because of the stigma, they did not want, or the lack of support, they did not want to even get help for their own child. I'm hoping by now that they have reached out and sought out some kind of support, but these parents, they did not want to, they didn't know where to go. They just didn't want to because of the lack of support. But you know what? You are your child's biggest advocate. And if you don't fight for your child, nobody is. You cannot care about what other people say, think, or do. Okay, so back to my story, because I always get sidetracked. So, we got his diagnosis. I got the child study team to work with me, and at that time, then they gave him an assistant. So they gave him a one-on-one aide that would come to the class and sit with him all day to help diffuse the outbreaks. And then at the time, he was still hitting himself. He was still throwing himself on the floor. Those behaviors he was still exhibiting. He would play with the kid. He would play alongside the kids, but wouldn't play with the kids, different things like that. And then he was getting like speech and vocational and another service I forgot that he was getting at that time to help him with his social and developmental, because like I said, my child has Asperger's. So Asperger's really for the most part is social and emotional issues. So they don't really know how to socialize the normal way or express their emotions, and that's why the acting out, the hitting, the pushing, the throwing stuff on the floor, the whatever, those behaviors are behaviors that they exhibit because they don't know how to express themselves. Okay, and then you would know that it's worse for children that are really autistic, that can't maybe hear or speak or have vocabulary to let their ideas be known. So we did the child study team, but then I guess by then the school year, like, he rocked with the team for the school year, and then I said, you know what, next year I'm gonna get him in charter school. So I was able to get him in charter school, and boy, oh boy, was that like the worst thing I could have done for my child. See, charter schools are good, charter schools are very good, but for my son, it wasn't good, because in charter schools, they like everybody to be the same. Okay, so example, if there's a green and a blue chair, right? They want you to sit in that blue chair no matter what. Even if my child wants to sit in a green chair, no, you got to sit in that blue chair. So they want everybody to be the same, even though I had the paperwork to say, okay, hey, look, this is it. My son went to charter school. They did not have the one-on-one aid for him because, charter schools, even though they're public, they're privately funded. And if they wanted to get my son a one-on-one aid, they would have had to like pay out of their pocket. Okay, so he went without an aid. But he did get his speech services and the other. Hi, Michael, how are you? He was able to get all of the services, that he needed. So, except for that one-on-one. So, as a result of not having that one-on-one, I was getting calls every day. Can you come pick up your son? Can you come pick up your son? Can you come? No, I cannot. I have a job. I work. Like, I cannot pick up my son. Get him the service that he needs, and then I don't have to pick up nobody. You know what I'm saying? Like, so what happened is they tried to man it on their own. So the guidance counselor tried to play the role. The principal tried to play the role. He was stuck in the office a lot of days. all because they did not hire this one-on-one person as his one-on-one aide, even though it said it in his EIP. Yeah, I think IEP. There we go, IEP. I just get them mixed up all the time. So anyway, in January, by January that school year, they ended up hiring a one-on-one aide, but she was part-time. So she basically worked from like 8 in the morning to 12 or 1 o'clock in the afternoon. When she left, guess what happened? Miss Robinson, your son is acting up again. Can you come get him? Like, no, why didn't y'all hire this lady full time? Like, y'all know that he has this issue and he needs this person all day. Why can't y'all like hire the person full time? So, they rocked out for like maybe a month or two, and then all of a sudden they wanted to have a meeting, right? So what they did is they brought in a person, a behaviorist, like a behavior specialist, whatever the case was, and they brought her in to do some kind of evaluation on my son. Now, as a result, I wasn't there, but as a result of that evaluation, they wanted to do some kind of physical restraint on him. Like, I forgot what the restraint was, but whatever the restraint was, they wanted to basically have my son in a corner, right? And they like guard him in the corner. I believe that was it. I think that's the second one they came up with. And then they had another intervention where he was in a chair and I forgot what they were, but I said, no, y'all not doing this to my child. Y'all not making a spectacle out of my child with this whole physical restraint nonsense. Like, I don't even do that at home. So I told them, no, I don't agree to this restraint at all. My child does not need any physical restraints. And this was not denial, because he just didn't need no physical restraint. Like really, so anyway, that Thursday, and I remember this clearly, that Thursday, they said, Miss Robinson or Miss Henry, whatever they were calling me at the time, we need to have a meeting on Monday next week. And I'm like, okay, cool. So that Monday comes, right? And the meeting was supposed to be like at 4 o'clock, right? So that Monday comes, and then, no, Thursday we had the meeting. So then they wanted to reschedule. Yeah, so the meeting was on Monday. I'm confusing myself. So then Monday comes, and they call me, hey, Miss Robinson, can you come in 2 hours earlier because we have a behaviorist person here? Okay, fine. I'll come to the school 2 hours earlier. So basically they had the behaviorist person there, and, she actually came up with a less restrictive physical restraint, and it was basically to stand over him and put their hands over his hand. I said, you know what, if this is gonna make him like stay in school all day, I agree to that one. But the other one where they was gonna put him in a corner and do whatever they was gonna do to him, that's not happening. So I was like, you know what, I agree to it, whatever. So then after she left. Now she didn't stay in the room, she left. After she left the meeting, they like, oh, Miss Robinson, you have to, starting this Wednesday, you have to pick up your child at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. I have to do what? I was just like, wow. Like, so y'all had a meeting with me on Thursday last week. No, y'all told me y'all wanted to meet with me on Monday, knowing that that's what y'all wanted to talk to me about. So, like, if y'all already knew that, why couldn't y'all have talked to me on Thursday? Because at the end of the day, I have a full-time job. Like, I wasn't at home all day twiddling my fingers, la da 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 da. No, I have a job. So I said, you know what? That's it. And I think at that time, this may have been a couple of weeks before I got married. Matter of fact, or it may have been after. I'm not sure. So, I said, you know what? There's just no way. I'm gonna have to quit my job. There's no way I'm gonna be able to do this. So I said to I think it was my fiance at the time, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna have to put him in school in New York. So that's just what we're gonna have to do. So the next day, I ended up coming to, or either the day after, I ended up coming to New York, to Brooklyn, and I went to the Board of Education. I did hold on one second. Hey, I'm doing a live stream. Gotta call you back. Gotta call you back. All right. Okay. So, what happened was, it was either like that Tuesday or that Wednesday. Actually, I let him stay in school Tuesday. Wednesday, I didn't take him to school. I went to the Board of Education in Brooklyn, and I said, this is where I'm going to be living. And at the time, I wasn't even living in Brooklyn. I was like, this is where I'm going to be living, whatever. And they told me to zone school at that time. So I got the assignment. I ended up going to that school. I either went the next day, but I think maybe that Thursday I went to the school. I got all documents, and guys, the way I got these documents were crazy, because like I said, I was not living here at the time. But when you're a mom, you got to do what you got to do for your kids. So I got the documents, and I went to the school and gave them everything, registered the kids and all that good stuff. And fortunately, they had like a week out of school that next week. Matter of fact, I had gotten married that following week, because I remember the kids had the week off the following week. So I got married. So then we started school, and what happened was, like, they I still had my son's IEP from New Jersey. So what happened was, I brought the IEP into this school, whatever, and they had, like, I don't know what the class was categorized as, but it was kind of like a special class. So it was a class where all of the children kids that were dealing with different issues were in that one class. It was 28 kids, and it was one main teacher, it was an assistant teacher, it was an aide, and there was a para, so like a one-on-one person. So they unofficially assigned my son his own para, thank the Lord. And even with him being in that class, it came with a lot of struggles as well. So, because it was a lot of sensory issues. So, too much noise, too much like moving around, maybe too much light. So, like they were telling me that in the morning time, my son was fine because the day was more or less organized. So, in the morning, you come here, you do at this time, you do this, at this time, you do this, at this time, you do this. So, just to deviate from my story a little bit, children with autism or Asperger's, they thrive off of time, or most. Everybody is different, but my son thrives off of time, thrives off of routines, and thrives off of relationships. So if something happens that's not part of, or that's not happening when it's supposed to be, that's going to completely throw him off, and then boom, there goes the symptoms arise. So if math is from 9 to 10, reading is from 10 to 11, and lunch is from 12 to 1, but say social studies happened on from 10 to 11, that's going to throw off his whole day, because 10 to 11 he thinks he's going to be doing math. So things like that. Yes, children with Asperger's are very sensitive. So once they have a schedule, it's over. Once they know what they're doing, it's over. Everything, like I said, my son, he's big on dates, big on time, big on people, and big on the facts, and everything is in its special category. So even say your lunch thing. So say Monday is pizza, Tuesday is hamburgers, Wednesday is French fries. Like he gotta have what he gotta have, and if they deviate, then it could cause a problem. But my son is much better at managing those kind of crises nowadays. And by the way, I know I was telling you guys before that my son used to hit himself, hit people, push people, throw tantrum, throw himself on the floor. That stopped. That stopped a long time ago. I haven't seen those behaviors since he was 5, maybe. I haven't seen those behaviors. So it's because this mom right here went and did the footwork, went and got early intervention, went to see what was going on with my son so that I could better help him. Now, if you're in this kind of situation and you don't choose to go and get the help, and your child is throwing themselves on the floor, you're going to get mad and want to beat the child, like, get off the floor. But no, there's a problem. Go see what the problem is, because maybe there is a problem, and once you solve that problem, your child won't be throwing himself on the floor. Like, my son hasn't broke a dish or a cup or threw himself on the floor or none of that in a very long time. I do not see those behaviors at all. And he's 7 now? I haven't seen those behaviors since he was maybe 4 or 5 years old. So early intervention and knowing what's going on works, okay? So anyway, he went to, and when he was in this new school, of course, I would get the calls every day. Yaren's in trouble. Yaren's hitting. And let me add a laugh in here, right? Children, like I said, I don't know much about autism, but children on the autism spectrum, they're very specific, okay? Very, very specific. So they used to tell me, when I come to pick them up, Miss Robinson, your son kicked us. No, I did a high kick. Like, Yaren? Or they'd be like, Miss Robinson, Yaren punched us. No, I did a middle block. So with children with Asperger's, you have to be very specific, and they don't lie. They don't lie. So you see, my son did not deny that he kicked somebody, that he hit somebody. What he did was correct you on the kind of kick or the kind of punch that he did. So, like other children, they be like, I didn't punch nobody today. They'll lie. I didn't kick nobody. I didn't hit nobody. No, my son be like, you want to get this right. No, I did a side kick and a middle block. A high punch, a low punch, a middle punch, because he's in karate. So, and even then, when I put my child in karate, I was highly criticized. First of all, before I put my son in karate, I actually researched about children on the spectrum and karate, and it said it was a good thing. I guess at that time, it wasn't a good thing for him in that situation because he wasn't in the right class for him at that time. So anyway, we wrapped out the end of the school year. June came. They did his whole IEP over. So the one in Jersey was null and void. So they did his IEP over, and they by the summertime we got placed in the District 75 school. So he started going to a new school September, and he was on a 12 to 1-to-1 ratio. So that means that he could only be in class with 12 kids. And then there's one teacher, and then he has his own personal aide. Well, not really aide, but his assistant that's with him. So let me tell you guys, once he got into the school that he's in now with the right program, Like, it's been heaven, guys. Not one phone call from school. Not one phone call from school. And let me tell you, within the first week of him going to first grade in that new school, guess what? He was skipped to the second grade, okay? So, basically, having him in the right program for him helped him thrive educationally. So, because before, it's like, we all know, even his school, his old school, everybody knew or know that he's smart. But because of the barriers and the behavior, or because he wasn't in the right situation for, you know, his issues, it impacted his learning and his ability to grow academically. So, God, I don't even know who of you that knows my son, but my son is very smart, okay? At the age of 3 years old, and I have a picture on my Facebook somewhere. At the age of 3 years old, I have a picture of him sitting on the couch, literally, with the collegiate Merriam Dictionary, right? Just looking at it. I swear, I promise. 3 years old, he's looking at it. So so when he was 4, yep, thank you, Katrina. So at 4 years old, I brought him a children's dictionary. Matter of fact, where is that dictionary? I don't see it. It's hidden somewhere. But anyway, I brought my son a dictionary. I'm just trying to see. Yeah, that dictionary is just not here. So let me just sit back down. So anyway, I brought him a dictionary, a children's dictionary with like the pictures and stuff like that. My son was not filling that dictionary. He was not filling that dictionary at all because he wanted the other dictionary. And then by 4, this boy was reading like on a first, second grade level. My son was reading. You know, the problem may have been comprehension, but my son literally taught himself how to read. I kid you not. Like, when I saw how good he was reading, what I did is I took the dictionary, right? And you know how the dictionary have the 2 words on the top? And I'm turning the pages, and he just read, turn, read. I'm like, yo, how did he learn this? And it was from back when he was sitting there just flipping through the dictionary. I was like, this is insane. Like, I don't know how he taught himself how to read, but he was reading words like, literally, like on a second grade level. So he was doing really good. Well, I mean, like I said, when he was in that old school, like, he wasn't really able to thrive as he could have because he was in the wrong situation. So because children with Asperger's have sensory issues such as lighting may be too bright, too much noise. Like, this is why I can't listen to music really, really loud. So when he's not here, I can turn up the volume. Sensory issues such as, well, I don't think that's a sensory issue, but like I said, loud noise and lighting, those can be sensory issues. People touching, those can be sensory issues. People like not giving him his space, that can be sensory issues. Yeah, those are the different sensory issues. So anyway, my son is doing excellent right now in school. I get no complaint whatsoever. The school has never called me to say, oh, Miss Robinson, or they actually call me Miss Henry. So they never call me like, Miss Henry, you need to pick up your child. Miss Henry, Yaren's being bad. Matter of fact, Yaren is doing excellent. The only concerns they really have, because like I said, Asperger's is more of a social and emotional issue. So socially, they don't interact the quote unquote normal way, and they don't express themselves, or like their emotion, like their emotional level is on a different wave. So example, my father passed in 2015. So, and if you're here, feel free to ask questions. So my father passed away in 2015, right? And people, they be sad about that kind of stuff. So sometimes my son, he'll just come to me like, your daddy died in 2015? Yes, Yaren. But like, to him, it's nothing. It's just another topic of conversation, He laughs at things that I may not deem as funny. Like, he has his own sense of humor. He asks me the same questions over and over and over and over and over again. So I believe like maybe 2 months ago, his theme was, what's the capital of this state, or what's the capital of this country? And he has them all memorized. And it's just like, you know the answer already. Or he'll ask me like, what is your favorite country? Actually, like, what is your favorite city in the state to live in? I'm like, New York. And then the next day he asks me the same question. And the next day he asks me the same question. And the next day he asks me the same question. And it's like, Yaren, you already know the answer. But this is how he socializes. So once he gets a relationship with you, he's going to ask the same thing over and over again. So to enhance my child's learning, I get him stuff like this. So this is the Book of Knowledge. And I just recently got him this for his birthday. And hold on one second, you guys. Hide your boo-boo. Hide your boo. Okay, baby just woke up. Hi, Paya. Say hi. So when we go to the library, I get him books such as the encyclopedia because he likes facts and books about things that he thoroughly enjoys. So I think I probably left out some stuff, but the main point, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask them before I end this broadcast. But the main point of this broadcast is if you see something, do something. If you feel that there is an issue, do something. Early intervention works. Early intervention helps. Even if the first time you go and they say nothing's wrong, go back again. You don't want to stunt your child's growth developmentally, socially, educationally. You do not want to stunt your child's growth because you're in denial and you want to think that everything is okay. Go get the help that you need. Let me tell you, you're not going to have the support of friends. You're not going to have the support of family. So what? It's about your child. You are your child's biggest advocate. And if you don't advocate for your child, nobody will. You cannot leave it up to the school. You cannot leave it up to whoever. You have to do the footwork for your child. And like I said, it's been a rough 3 or 4 years for me. What was it? Whatever it was. It was a rough couple of years for me. But guess what? When I noticed something, I did something about it. And because I did something about it, my child is thriving today. I'm just happy. Like my child, I'm happy. He's on. How's his interactions with his brother? He has great interactions with his brothers. But like I said, even with his oldest brother, he'll play with him sometime. But then he gets to that point where he don't want to play no more, and he goes off into his own thing. He likes to play by himself. As far as his brother's concerned, as far as communicating, they're able to have their brotherly chit chat. But then there's other times where he does the same thing to my oldest son. So he'll ask him the same questions over and over and over and over and over again. And Johnny gets annoyed with him sometimes, but I tell him just answer the question because he will sit there and call his name over and over and over again until he answers. So his interactions with his brother is awesome. With his baby brother, his interaction is great. In school, his interaction is great. Like I said, he plays alongside the kids, but he don't play with them. However, they really like him. They like him because they invite him to play. They invite him to do different things, and that's a huge sign that they like him. And I had his birthday was Monday, and we took him cake, and I took him cake to the school, and the children were very happy. They were socializing amongst each other. So he's just a joy to be around, and he gets along with pretty much everybody. It's just whoever's meeting him, they have to know how to deal with him, basically. So when I take him out in social situations, I don't go and explain to them hey, this is my son, he has Asperger's, watch out. It only comes up if need be, but it really don't come. Even in karate, he thrives. He does his thing. He listens. He'll interact with the other kids, from time to time. But when he's in karate, he's just focused on karate. And the thing is, he doesn't deal with strangers, which is a good thing. So if you don't know him, he's not going to talk to you. Or if you say if you don't know him, you come up to him and you're like, hey, how you doing? What's your name? He's going to say, my name is Pisa, or whatever his nickname is for that time, because he don't want to tell his name because he don't know you. So my son thrives off a relationship. So once he know who you are and y'all develop some kind of bond, and if y'all develop some kind of topic, that's even better. He's going to talk to you about that same topic over and over and over again, no matter how many times you try to change the conversation. So let me see. Tanya, we've learned how to have an abundance of patience and communication with our child. Patience. That's a huge one as well, especially until you're getting used to behaviors and things like that. Patience is a big key. Now, let me tell you this story. This is a funny story from last year, right? That's when we had a turtle in a little case, right, in the container, and we was going out, and he wanted to take the turtle with him. I'm like, Yaron, you cannot take the turtle with you. It has to stay at home. And I got told him 3 times. So he did not want to leave the turtle. So he's going through his motions. And I was just like, you know what? And yeah, because that patience thing, I'm really trying to work on it. It's a struggle. It's really a struggle, because it's you sitting there and you're trying to be logical, and it's okay, you can't take the turtle because this turtle is a house pet. This turtle belongs in the house. But it's no matter how many logical things I said, his thing was, I'm taking this turtle out with me. Okay, fine. So we finally leave the apartment, doors closed, doors locked, with the key. Then he turns to me, Mommy, I want to take the turtle back inside. So basically, he has to process things in his own timing. So yeah, that's my little funny story. And I can tell you plenty more funny stories, but that's not what I'm here for. But yeah, just in relation to your comment, I had to share that story. And that's about it. So, if you have any other questions, feel free. And my baby boy, he does have his best friend. Is your child extremely selective with food? Yes, he is. He's very specific about what he wants to eat and the brand of what he wants to eat and the day that he wants to eat it. So my son is yeah, he's a very picky eater. So he loves pizza. He loves oodles and noodles. I'm so mad I introduced him to that. He loves Kraft macaroni and cheese. He loves chicken nuggets. He loves fried chicken wings. He loves broccoli. And I introduce little things here and there, but it's just a lot of things that he don't want to eat. And when he does, there's a lot of stuff he don't want to eat. And then my child is an extremely slow eater. Like, he eats so slow, and I'm just like, I cannot deal. So like in the morning time before I get him ready for school, I have to allot him 30 minutes just to eat a couple of pancakes. So yeah, he's very slow eater. And like I said, he's very, very selective and very picky. And he, like I said, he wants specific brands. So say we ran out of oodles and noodles. He'll say, like say today we ran out of oodles and noodles. Can you buy noodles on Friday from Fine Fare? So on Tuesday. So on Tuesday, can you buy oodles and noodles from Fine Fare? So not only does he want the oodles and noodles, but he knows where I'm supposed to get it, and he wants a certain brand. So he don't want any old brand. Same thing with Cracker Barrel cheese. Can you buy because he likes grilled cheese sandwiches. Can you buy Cracker Barrel cheese from Key Food on Friday? Okay, no problem. So he's very specific about things, and when he asks you for something, he's not going to just ask you for that thing, but he's going to ask you to get it on that date at a certain time. My daughter only eats one specific pizza place. That's too funny. You know what? Like, my son, he likes Maria's Pizza, right? Maria's Pizza is in our neighborhood. But I think for his birthday, I took him to like a really fancy pizza place, and he liked it. So he's like, oh, my favorite pizza is this now. Hold on, you got to be right back again. And he's like, my favorite pizza is this. Oh, no, my favorite pizza is that now. So those are little things that can seem like inconveniences. But once you're used to it, it basically takes away a lot of trouble. You know, like, there's a lot of things we can help. And then there's a lot of things that you can't help. But, you know, once you're aware, you know, you can kind of judge your way around it. So, you know, sometimes if I know there's going to be a change in the routine, if I know as soon as possible, I try to prep him. So, Yaron, this is going to happen today instead of that. And he's understanding. So right now at this age, it's not as bad. It's not as bad as it used to be, and it's because of early intervention and getting the help that was needed early, not being ashamed, not, you know, paying attention to whatever, and just doing what needed to be done. So that is my encouragement to any parent that's dealing with a child that has autism or Asperger's or any other developmental quote unquote disabilities. I would tell you to get the help. And the sooner you get the help, the better, because now it's going to help you and everyone else in your household deal with that child, okay? Like I said, you're not going to get the support from family. You're not going to get the support from friends. You're your child's biggest advocate. Do what you got to do. Some think I spoil my daughter because I speak with her so she understands. No, you don't spoil your daughter at all. Like I said, you know what works for you and you do it. And it basically diffuses a lot of situations. And like I said, people don't understand. If there's a green chair and a blue chair and your child want to sit in the blue chair, let the boy sit in the blue chair. There is no harm in letting the boy sit in the chair that he prefer. You know, I mean, sometimes you can't give them everything that they prefer, but little things like a chair color, like, pick your battles, you know, pick your battles, you know. So I don't see any more questions coming up, but if you have any questions after watching this broadcast, feel free to leave them in the comment section. I'll definitely comment. If you're actually dealing with an issue with your child and you haven't gotten diagnosed yet because you're ashamed and you want to leave me an inbox, feel free to inbox me. You're welcome, Tanya. Feel free to inbox me and I'll definitely write you back, because I know some people may be ashamed of it or whatever. Yeah, inbox me. I'll definitely inbox you back. And that's basically that for that's I'm gonna get off the soapbox for autism awareness. I hope that you have learned something. If you are, like I said, dealing with an issue, it hasn't been diagnosed, go get help. Early intervention is key. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you later.